No.
Why haven't you been to Iraq?
Because I don't need to go to Iraq to understand the Constitution.
You don't need to talk to the troops?
Read the Constitution. Why do I have to read the Constitution in Iraq?
Well, we're in Iraq.
I know it's an undeclared war.
Well,
why don't you read the Constitution?
Wars.
You don't go to war without a declaration, and I don't need to go to Iraq for that.
So you don't think it's important to talk to the military leaders about what's happening on the ground?
Not for policy. They're not policy makers. They take directives. So why go over there? The war isn't just mismanaged. We're not supposed to be there. It's unconstitutional. It's illegal. We're there to enforce UN resolutions. There was no threat to American security. There was nothing, no connection to Al-Qaeda, no connection to 9/11, no weapons of mass destruction.
Well, if stockpiles of weapons had been found, and you would admit that they were there at some point, Saddam did have.
Yeah, when we gave them to them, we know they were there because we gave them those weapons at one time.
So if they had been found, you would admit then that you were right or you were wrong, or would you say
no? They weren't a threat to us. How did we handle the Soviet Union? They had 40,000.
So 9/11.
Did we discover?
Right, but 9/11 didn't change the calculus at all.
Against Iraq?
About how we deal with other countries.
No,
in a preemptive
with Iraq.
way.
We went to war against Iraq.
Right.
It's preposterous to think that the 9/11 justified attacking, invading, and crusading in Iraq. That is the reason they come here. If you don't understand that, we can't solve our problem. Right. We're going to have more terrorists come because they have to have an incentive to come.
Right, but we've helped a lot of Muslim people in the Balkans, and we clearly helped them in the Kuwait.
Yeah, and all the Republicans opposed it. All the Republicans opposed it, and matter of fact, George Bush ran in the year 2000 condemning that interference.
You're going to blow our
Clinton.
Microphone any second, Congressman. But look, I mean, my point is, before 9/11, I mean, we had done an enormous amount to help the Muslims. Whatever party agreed or didn't agree, we helped the Kuwaitis. We had done an enormous amount for Muslims across the globe. And you know what we got for it? We got 3,000 of our fellow Americans incinerated. That's what we got for it. Or is it Israel's fault?
You're arguing my case. You saw we didn't get any thanks. We lost 3,000 men. That's intervention, blowback, unintended consequences. You just made the case for the constitutional position of the founders taught is stay out of entangling alliances. Don't get involved in the internal affairs of the nation. George Bush says no nation building, no policing of the world, a humble foreign policy.
He said that
that's
when
what
he
I'm
came
talking.
He did. He wrote a big article.
Yes, but he said that. But he changed his mind before 9/11. Read Paul O'Neill's book, and he says the first thing on the agenda was invading Iraq.
Should we go back to the gold standard?
Well, we should have sound money, and we should go back to the Constitution. The Constitution says you should have only gold and silver as legal tender.
So then, yes, we should go back to a gold standard. Yeah, but
because the paper standard is non-viable, it always fails. Gold has lasted for 6,000 years, and there's paper standards have never lasted for very long, and ours is the world paper standard will disappear.
Can we defeat China economically? In this country?
Not at the rate we're doing now. They're our banker. They're capitalists. They don't waste their money and energy by invading countries. They take our money, they take their investment, and they're making deals in Iran.
Well, they're making deals in Africa too, which is
sure.
disturbing. But
why? Because we spend all our money on the military and doing it by force. They act like capitalists right now.
No, but they're spending an enormous amount on military
but they earned it.
Militarization of
they
space.
Work hard. They sell us stuff. We print the money, they take their money, and they invest. They're capitalists.
But you would agree that this world is it is a little bit different than it was when we had the old gold standard. I mean, people can move easily, commerce can move easily, and obviously things can come into this country, whether it's containers or people, and the ease of travel does change a little bit, does it not? Our ability to compete by retreating. I mean, I'm not where these total free marketeers of free trade, regardless of what it does to America people. But I do believe that it is hard to just say, okay, we're going to pull back.
Well, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about not telling other people how to live and bombing people and giving foreign aid. But I'm a free trader. I don't want sanctions. Why can't you go to Cuba? You might like a trip to Cuba. Canadians go to Cuba. Canadians go to Cuba.
Most Americans
they have more rights in Canada.
Do you think NAFTA has been good for America?
No, I voted against that. I think those managed trade agreements are terrible. But I still think low tariffs are good because tariffs are high taxes for the consumer. Mm-hmm. So we want free trade. We don't want managed trade for the benefit of big corporations, and that's what the managed trade does and the WTO does.
I want you to thank your supporters for me personally for not hitting me with the snowball last night, because I talked to a number of them who had pelted certain Fox News personalities, and you have to admit, your being excluded from the Fox Forum has made you more popular. Yes or no?
That's right. That is
right.
This is the purpose.
It's been a net positive.
Yeah, it is a net positive, and they haven't understood unintended consequences and blowback. They tried to punish me, and they actually helped me. That's exactly what happens in our foreign policy.
Well,
unintended consequences. I love it.
Well, Congressman, you make it all interesting, and we really appreciate your time. Hey, thanks a lot for joining us. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Stay with us on the Laura Ingrahm Show.
We'll bring you further down, and now you all use up. Don't bother coming round. You keep using me just like a stepping stone. You keep using me just like a stepping stone.
The Laura Ingrahm Show.